You know, it is interesting when I made the video saying that Mojang have changed the lead recipe. A lot of you guys didn't even know that leads even had a crafting recipe. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I didn't even know leads were craftable. I always forget that leads are craftable. The fact that it was only today that I discovered that leads were craftable. I guess these guys really did suffer for our sins. So, over the last several weeks, Mojang have overhauled a lot of the functionality surrounding leashes. All of this primarily in response to the Happy Ghast and the fact that the Happy Ghast is one of the premier ways to transport things or even travel around your world. In some respects, I do pity the horse. Saddles are not craftable, yet harnesses are craftable, so often players might see themselves riding a Happy Ghast before they even think about riding or taming a horse in the first place. This setup has become insanely popular among players. All of this to say that leashes have become quickly an early game item. Now this brings with us some fairly popular and reasonable requests from the community. I have a setup here, I've got some minecart rails over here and here. I mean, I tried to do one of them where you've got a minecart on this track and another one here, and you can try to leash both of them, but even with commands, it's not really possible. In Java Edition, we have merging minecarts as a function. All you need to do is have a furnace minecart pulling two other minecarts, and then as you can see, it's incredibly buggy. I completely understand why the community wants to have leashed minecarts, but I think that is a pretty far-fetched notion for the game right now. So with some commands, I attempted to leash passengers that are existing inside the minecarts, but the minecart logic will always seek to override whatever's being leashed inside it, so consequentially, the pig is going to be pulled out of the minecart, which means the minecart won't be leashed to the other minecart. Yeah, I leashed a creeper here. With commands, you can, and what you need to do is modify its leash UID to simply grab your player UID. So you just have to get really close to it, press that, he's now leashed to you. This is not something that's possible in survival. You still need to put this guy in a boat and then leash the boat. This comes with a lot of bugs. He still refuses to pathfind through the rails. So let's say I wanted to leash him to this fence. The only way to achieve this is through commands. Once again, you need to change its leash position to the fence like this, and now it's leashed to the fence. It looks oh so fabulous, doesn't it? Yeah, it can't go anywhere. Its home position is now stuck to the fence. Be that as it may, in survival mode, this is not possible. And all of a sudden, you have created a leash knot here, independent to the villager. What I've sort of deduced from this is that you can just bring this villager across and summon leash knots everywhere, although all of these leash knots have zero purpose associated with them. So having tested all of that and knowing that I can just spawn leash knots on fences as easily as this, I created a very fun idea that I think all of you guys would really like. So here I've built a bridge across two cliffs over a ravine, and normally what players would do if they wanted to build a very basic bridge and prevent players from falling off the bridge is by placing a series of fences on one side right here and then another one on this side. Now it's not the most beautiful thing in the world, I've kind of rushed this, but there must be a more elegant solution preventing players from, say, walking off the bridge, falling off the bridge without encroaching within the walking area, because this just makes it extremely narrow, and connecting fences to blocks over here never looks good. You can obviously use a debug stick to remove it. Right now south is true, so if I just get rid of this is possible, but it is not immune to block updates. So here I have a lead, and what I'm going to do is spawn a leash knot independently on this fence post, and I'm going to do it to every single one. I'll get rid of this one here. This is fine. Getting rid of this. You do not need every single fence post, because what I'm about to do is link up all of the fences. Let's push this one over here with leads. Let's heighten that one. I've removed about half of the fences now. So now I have targets where I can easily connect leashes. Okay, so this is how it's going to work. Let's go over this side. I'm going to grab this leash and connect it to this one. And now I have a linked up fence that looks a lot more aesthetically pleasing than simply joining them up with fence posts. Right click this one, connect to that. I don't really know how this one, oh, that looks fine. I like the gradient, all self-working of course. Connect this to this one's a bit far away. I don't like how it's, oh, that's fine. This one's a lot higher, not bad. This one over here, this one over here. So now I've completely blocked off this left side of the bridge with leashes. Given that there's a complete overhaul with leashes right now, we might as well try to accomplish something like this. And there we go. Now we can simply walk along this bridge without falling off, except you can still technically fall off. There's nothing preventing players from doing that. In fact, this is all very much just a visual change. There are no barriers on each side of the bridge, but at the very least, it provides ample walking space without having to place fences like this and then connecting it in this way. I don't think that's ever a good idea. Hopefully Mojang does add something like this in the future. The only big issue is, of course, that players can still walk off. This leash here is not an entity. The entities are here and here. For this to function properly, you'd have to have some form of invisible entity on this block and this block to knock the player off. So let's say I had 2 sheep here and then give invisibility. Now it's much harder for the player to walk off because the sheep is in fact knocking the player back. So that's something that you can do. But I think this looks absolutely superb. Travel back. So some way you can apply this is with leash knots across a fence and then spawn some cows, something like this. So these cows can stay inside this fenced off area. I like this a lot. Here you can run telephone lines across these poles that look really nice in any given scenario. In fact, I've written this data pack in a way that also allows you to connect multiple of them on the same fence line. So it would immediately descend to the second one. But you can also crisscross if you like this. Entirely up to you. The last one here, of course, is the classic red carpet look with the rope. And the great thing here is that it is very resource efficient, provided that it's only using about 5 string per 2 leads. I personally don't think Mojang going to introduce a feature like this into the game. I'm just hoping this video here illustrates just how practical something like this can be. And if you're curious as to how all of this works, clearly what I'm doing is I'm spawning different animals inside these fences that are invisible. They're all invisible, they're all pretty small, so you can't see them right now. But I'm afraid there is no command that allows you to link up a fence to another fence. So this is the only way to do it. And I guess if you want to be very ambitious, you can build a guitar with each of the leads representing a nylon or steel string. I made the fences here a little bit closer so I can actually connect the leads together. So let's bring this one across, connect it to this one. Either way is fine. 4th, 5th, and 6th, like so. So it really has a lot of building applications to go with it. And with some commands or some redstone, you can play the strings. I do hope you guys like this. As a matter of fact, there are entire Minecraft suggestion boxes that ask for linking minecarts together, so that's the #1 thing. There's this one by Jota Nuki asking for saddles to be craftable, horse armor to be craftable. At this point, I really don't understand why saddles can't be craftable. At the very least, even if horse armor isn't craftable, at least saddles. With a game like Minecraft that encourages exploration, using horse this early game can really take advantage of that. So I don't mind the fact that horse armor can't be craftable. That's probably fine. Leather armor is craftable, but the other ones aren't. At the very least, saddles should be craftable, not just dungeon loot. And then here we've got the linking fences, which I tried to do, which is the easiest one to implement. There's also the connectable chains mod. In fact, chains are a viable alternative, and it makes total sense, and it might even look better in some cases. Either way, if you look hard enough for this sort of concept online, I'm sure you'll find data packs and mods available for you to install. So if there's any time for Mojang to add something like this to the game, it might be right now. Otherwise, the ship is probably gonna sail for it. As usual, let me know what you think. I love it personally. Hope you guys do too.